Hey girl,
Guten
it's
Morgen.
Monday. Hey girl. I'm just kidding. What's up? I'm the Data Lord. This is Jaime. Welcome to Crypto and Coffee, where we drink about crypto and talk about coffee, and we talk about crypto and drink about coffee. Drink it in, baby. Drink it in. So, Jaime, how are you today?
Outstanding.
How you
Hump
feeling?
day is going to be an easy one. It's going to be a fun one. It should be quite a bit of news on the price action, on where things could be headed, where we headed. And it's never boring. I mean, I know we're
Not.
sweaty nerds, but it's never boring in our industry, unlike others. So it's going to be quite interesting what's coming next. Can't wait to share.
Ay, cabrón.
Hey, vato.
Hey, vato. Shout out to my vatos. Love you guys.
Sí, señor.
Indo,
Indo crypto.
you're one of my vatos. What's up, boy?
That's right. He's Colombian though, so let's be clear.
Good morning. Well, you can be Colombian vatos. What's
Okay.
up? What's up, Boston? You can be a vato
Good
too. What's up,
morning,
homie?
Buzz Don. And on that private communication, Buzz Don, yes. The answer is yes. When it happens and we're ready, my sir. And I'll text you in full detail later.
What are they talking about? I don't know.
We're all
Anyways,
building,
back to the
brother.
show. Hey, so we're looking at markets real quick before we get into the stories for the day, and also, if you would, you're part of the show too, my friends. We do roll call. Make sure you say good morning, say shout outs, and then when we're all done with this, I will give you some time of day. You get the spotlight. I'll say what's up, give you some love, and let you know we see you. We care about you.
Yeah,
And also, we're going to talk about the news. So, markets. Let's talk markets. So, if we're looking at the long term, that's the money coming into crypto. So when we say we're in a bear market, what we mean is we mean that right here. We mean we're at this little plateau, as people who know Chris Jones. It's not a plateau, it's a plateau. But we had some good money come in 2021 and into 2022, but we're not in 2022 anymore. We're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. We're over here in 2023, and that's good because that means you can scoop your bags. Once we return to these levels, you'll be sitting pretty. So, again, not financial advice. I can't promise past performance equals future performance. So,
And only invest what you can afford to lose always.
But also, I'm kind of bullish on this.
Me too.
I'm stacking chips.
too.
So, anyways, so if we look at really, here's what I want you to see. Just in the last 14 days, we're on the low, not the lowest, but we're down. So if you're tripping, don't be tripping, be scooping.
Yes.
Looking at the general markets though, over here, Bitcoin's up 1.2%, Ethereum's up 1.1%. Those two are copycats. They are copying each other. Look at the shape over here on the last 7 days.
Yes.
Ethereum's trying to be a straight up it's the little brother in the backseat of the car on the family vacation who's just repeating every word you say. He doesn't do it perfectly, but he's trying to be just like you.
And he's fighting with his siblings.
Mom, tell him to stop it. Mom, tell him to stop it.
He's touching my leg.
He's touching my it's exactly that situation. So anyways, we all know Bitcoin's the OG. So XRP, not impressive. Cardano, not impressive. OKB, why do people care about you? Polygon, 1.6. Okay. You can see we're kind of flat. That's okay. We expect that because we're waiting for Bitcoin to make a decision. We're also waiting on regulatory clarity. So if you're wondering why isn't she moving, poking it with a stick, that's the reason. So Jaime will show a much better version of this chart, actually. Jaime, you got that chart up?
Yes, sir. Let me
get
her up. Let me get her up.
Oh, nice. I'll show you.
Let me light her up for you.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. And I'm sharing this tab instead.
Whoop-ah.
Whoop-ow. All right, everyone.
You need to get whipping sound fonts.
Yeah, I do have that El Gato thing. We should make it happen. So overall, The only addition I did to the original chart was the fact of the highs and the lows and the medians. I don't know if I shared it. Yes, we are shared. Okay, good. The highs and the lows. So you see that overall, the buy zones, that's why I marked them in green, are usually in this bottom growth S curve. And then the top, of course, are the times you should start considering of, you know what, let me lock in some profits, step outside and wait to see what Bitcoin does on the next steps. So that's the conversation we had in the previous top that we encountered before. So where are we today? Let me zoom in. This chart is not presentation friendly, but it is quite useful in terms of the data it has. But as you can see here, we are in this zone with a potential bounce or a double bottom. We will see, we'll dive deeper into that as I move into the next steps. So we are where we need to be, guys. The upside is looking pretty juicy. We should be confirming the gray zones. If you look at the history, it's always an up and down. It's if you're on a roller coaster, the gray zones are pretty good at the roller coasters. On the red zones or time frames, the bear markets, you kind of can bet it's down. It goes down. And this time it pretty much followed the median all the way to the bottom. The big question is, will we follow the median on the way up? Doesn't have to, because if you remember COVID, we followed that top and then just dropped, tested the bottom, and then continued our rally to the top of the market as we had before. Now, what I do want to emphasize now is we're going to zoom into this region right here on the monthly, because as we mentioned weeks prior and now last Monday, we wanted to watch how the monthly closed. And if you look, this is last month, February. January, of course, was a juicy, good green dildo for excite the whole market. And now we had an indecision candle close as of last night, meaning Bitcoin is not showing clarity of direction. It's almost like the whole market's waiting for something to happen. And in just the last 24 hours, we saw this little candle rise up. And if you notice, it's still holding below the 50 monthly moving average. This is very important because we can have a wick up to excite the market, but in terms of where the price action currently is, and we'll see the other, you want to look for confluence. You want to look for, okay, confirmation of not just what you see on the screen, but also, is there strength behind this move? What is there? So we're going to zoom into that. But before I move in from the monthly candle, I do want to highlight this line right here. Though I moved those two red hands, the yellow and the red, further out as the price action moves. But this red one right here is a concrete ceiling. If you look at it from a holistic time frame, so it's around $28,900, $29,000. Why? It's because it is an annual and monthly level. So if I were to zoom the chart out to the 6 months, here we go. I know it looks like a mess, so let me please note that big thick red one comes at the top of the 6 months, July 2020. And then we confirmed it as support by January 2021. And then we rallied up and wicked down to the same level. So that's 3 6-month periods, and finally broke down through it by January 2022. And now we've been slowly rising up to it. This level is extremely important to watch, because if we move to the annual, we also see that level. And please ignore all the green diarrhea at the bottom. Those are bounce levels I'm looking at. But this one has quite a bit of history, the annual and the monthly. And as I stated early January, one of my biggest concerns about the annual chart is the fact that we have a bearish engulfing. So we had green, 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 a bearish engulfing, and I'll pull up the Investopedia and post it on the stream as soon as I finish here. But a bearish engulfing is when you had greens and then the very next candle, which was the 2022 candle, closes larger and below the previous green candle. That is a bearish engulfing. Usually that's a sign of a trend reversal. So that could be confirmation of what's to come in the near future, is the fact that we may at the most rise up to the 28,000, 29,000 level, tap it to confirm it as resistance, and then find our bottom. And all now we have to be patient and look at where the monthlies or in the annuals will stop, where the trend will reverse back up to bullish. But we need to be aware of these price actions because most people are looking at the minute, at the daily, at the 12-hour. Why? Because they're day trading, which is good. But people who want to drop HODL and also dollar cost average and everything, you do want to understand where the trends are. And the only way to see real trends is at the higher time frames. So let me bring it back to the monthlies where we were. And that's what I wanted to emphasize on this chart right here is, okay, we're confirming it as resistance, the 50 moving average. Worst case scenario, if we do see a pump, we will see it at least up plausible is 29,000 level. Why? Because that's a true concrete ceiling. It may wick, maybe, I don't think it will, but maybe up to the 21 moving average, but that's it. Now let's zoom in to what's really happening up close now. So now moving into the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, do you remember we had the death cross at the beginning of February? And now it's confirmed on the weekly. Now we hit the 200. We hit the 200 2 weeks in a row. Finally, this week, we now being held down by the 50 moving average. So you can see that weakness occurring at this very moment. So that my bet is that there will be a downtrend. So if we zoom in even closer on the 3-day, we were inside a channel and now we just dropped out of it for a second time. The first time we tested the FTX collapse as a support, came back up. Now we dropped out of the channel again. So the big question now is, okay, how soon will this break down? That remains to be seen. So if you have not taken profits, and we're seeing altcoins rally up. So if you look at the right side and I open it up, it's pretty much green across all the altcoins, which is usually when there's stability between Bitcoin and Ethereum, the altcoins go out and play in the field. So it's kind of like a fish tank. When you see all the baby fish playing, once the big fish come back in, boom, everyone goes to their hiding spots. They're out and playing, guys. But please take profits where you have calculated you'll take profits. Outside of that,
dude.
Exactly. And it's because Bitcoin and Ethereum are showing stability at this very moment. But please keep an eye on the trend. And the trend seems to be weakening at this moment. It's a good thing because you'll get cheaper Bitcoin and Ethereum as it drops back down. And that's all I had, Brandon.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, thank you so much for all the insight. That's the type of insight I don't think people are getting on many other channels. So I hope people see how valuable that is, that we can actually have that deep of a technical understanding of the macro. Because a lot of people are not doing that at all. The macros is so underplayed. So.
And look at it from the standpoint, a tsunami. A lot of times you'll have a tsunami out at sea. People at the bay are looking at the bay and it's receding. Yep. And they start seeing a lot of fish out there. And this happened in Pedro Valdivia in Chile way back in the last tsunami they ever had. Most people thought, oh my God, look at all that fish out there. And they went out to go get it, not realizing that the sea was receding because here came a wall and it wiped out quite a few people.
It'll take lives. Yep.
Yes. So Bitcoin at this moment, based on the annual and the 6 month, there seems to be a recession. It's receding at this moment. So there's a lot of opportunity, but you better time your way out before the tsunami comes in. And so please stay chill. It doesn't mean it's the end of Bitcoin. No, everything's seasonal. There's always trends.
Trust, my sons.
Yes.
Trust.
Yes. And they're building. And you're seeing all the institutions investing heavily into the trading of Bitcoin, et cetera. So the industry will go nowhere. Just chaff will be eliminated, is my opinion, of when the tsunami comes.
And we've seen that, like, we can't give super tight details on this, but we have seen a ton of organizations that we thought were like big cheese, and this bear market stripped their robes off and showed that they are nothing. Like,
Yep.
There were a ton of companies, tons of them. We've covered some of them on the show, who had huge investments and they just kept doubling down. People are like, dang, these guys must be rolling.
Yeah.
But it turns out they were actually borrowing. They weren't in profit the entire time. And as soon as the bear market came, the people who were lending to them were like, no, you need to pay your current bills. We're not lending you anymore. And they were like, well, what do we do? And they had to make some really tough decisions. So that's why, like, whenever we're building something, we always build with the perspective of it better be at least break even, if not profitable, entering a bear market. And then whenever we have a bull market, whatever we make is gravy. That's fine. But we have to build, like, it's like building a house. You have to build a house for whatever tolerances are in your area of the country. If you build a house that's not ready to be able to take on a hurricane, and you're in the Florida Keys, like, what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
your house is a hut. That's not a house. You're gonna build another one next summer, So kids these days, what am I gonna do? So, anyways, we would love to get into a little bit of roll call. So, good morning, Indo Crypto, boy.
Good morning.
Good and true. Boston, what's up, brother?
Good morning, guys.
And
Wendelin.
we got Wendelin. What's up?
Good
What's
morning,
up?
Wen.
I salute you. Good morning. And if anybody else does want to get saluted, whatnot, we will be active in our chat. So just say what's up, give a little love, like and subscribe if you would. That helps other people find us and get good advice so they don't get whaled on too.
Exactly. And Indo, I think you're right in terms of the ETH wanting that flippening.
Yeah.
I can see that happening during this time period because there's so much adoption, crypto in this case, because of Ethereum's next steps and evolution. Because most of the alts were born out of Ethereum, so it is gaining market cap because of all these deployments going on.
Yeah. So let's get into the news. We got some cool news today. It's not spicy, but it's exciting. And I know I said we don't play games. We might play some games, but not those types of games. More like video games, So Jaime's he's a sniper. You wouldn't even know it. He plays games with his kids, and he freaking holds down long range. So this is interesting. So game engine Unity, if anyone's not familiar with Unity is a game engine that a lot of Android, iOS games were on, but you can develop full-blown desktop games on it too. And it has like a lot of things that can scale up and down depending on what the hardware it's running on. So it can run super light, and it can also run pretty beefed up. It's not Unreal Engine, but tons of games are developed on Unity, and it's what a lot of game colleges are actually teaching because it's so approachable. So game engine Unity adds MetaMask functionality among new Web3 tools. So hey, look, I just want to call it. So this piece right here, blockchain Solana and Tezos were among 13 vetted. I just want to let you know, we talk about Solana all the time, making sure people understand that, like, Solana is actually good software to develop on. Whether or not it's the most decentralized is the question, right?
Correct.
As opposed to Tezos, we brought that example up a whole bunch of times because we're actually building on Tezos because we did a ton of homework. What we ended up finding was Tezos has a lot of features. It's actually decentralized. It actually has a really, really impressive governance system. It self upgrades. It's awesome. And so it's cool to see that that's integrated into Unity natively, because I actually think that's going to be really bullish on Tezos as we start to see games that actually rock pumped out and there's some level of integration there. So
Precisely. And
precisely.
it has a delegated staking. So you don't have to hold the
Non-custodial.
non-custodial, sorry. Non-custodial staking, which means that if you want to stake to it, you do not have to relinquish your tokens to the staking node. You just give it permission to use it, but it remains in your wallet. So that's one of the other powerful things Tezos has deployed.
Yeah, so there's a stack here that's starting to show up, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. So I just sounded like Fat Albert. My apologies. So let's read the news. Blockchain, Solana, and Tezos were among 13 vetted crypto platforms added to Unity's asset store. Man, that sentence is good. Unity's video game development platform has added a slew of crypto platforms to its asset store to assist developers interested in Web3 technologies to streamline decentralization efforts. On February 28th, Unity said it had released a new decentralization category page in its asset store. Yeah, that's so good. With vetted crypto platforms to support developers interested in merging the decentralization into their projects. Are you hearing that, folks? Native dev tools making this easy peasy for green bean developers to start integrating Web3 principles. Now, real quick here, I do want to say this. I have heard so many people say, well, what's Web3? Web3 is not defined yet. Stop saying that. Web3 is defined. Let's talk about that. Web3 means you hold private keys. Ta-da! You don't have a centralized server holding private keys, right? Your assets are actually owned by you. Your assets are not owned by Blizzard or whatever company it might be. Now they might own like the asset in the game, but your account owns the asset in that game. Does that make sense? So
it's
like
your keys. It's your proof
people
of.
can't gamify the video game and cheat and make it so that by ill-gotten gains they have these unique items. It's basically the software is checking against the blockchain saying, hey, do we have this token address? Okay, what's that token equal over here on this database? Oh, it's this sword with this fire ability, and those types of specs and whatnot are like locked up to your account, so people can't just spoof it. You feel me on that? No more
Hell
spoofing.
yeah.
No more
No spoofing.
No, yeah. By the way, swooping. I just thought I'd mention this. Is swimming while pooping. So make sure you don't swoop. So
you're a sick puppy.
Back to the news. So on February 28th, Unity said it had released a decentralization category page on its asset store with vetted crypto platforms. I love that. They actually did some homework and saw like were these legit or not. They didn't just stuff anything that someone pitched to them. They actually did some due diligence is what this means. With crypto platforms to support developers interested in merging decentralization into their projects. Crypto wallet provider MetaMask, everyone knows them. Not everyone loves them. Was one of 13 platforms, so it's not the only one. It's just one of them. So if you're not buying that MetaMask situation, at least just see like it's one of 13, and there could be more in the future if something better pops up. Let us know. Let them know. Maybe they'll get eyes on it. But MetaMask is one of 13 platforms featured on the store with its software developer kit, the SDK, added to help developers enable users to connect their MetaMask wallets to any game developed on Unity. Yeah! Which means it's backwards compatible. Do you hear that? Yeah. Any game that's already on Unity can integrate this into future patches, and now they have NFTs in their games that actually lock up assets on your account. So if you unlock some stuff with your buddies, doing raids or winning tournaments, getting high rank or whatever, and you unlock some skins, that type of thing, like your account actually owns that. No little turd at the company can edit your account and make you not own that.
Correct, because they don't have your keys. They literally, for the game to release it or move it, or if you sold it, you would need to sign it and you're the only one that has those keys, so it can't be taken from you. That's the power of decentralization and what they're doing.
That's right. So let's look at the chat here. So Indo here saying Tezos, that's super interesting. Boston has a retention issue. His Podgy's re-exploded. So there's pills for that, brother. Also
Something-
Kegels. Do some Kegels. Indo Crypto, not your keys. Nacho cheese, Bree.
Yeah.
I see you.
Yep. So
See you.
that is great news. And the fact in any ecosystem, diversity is key. In human ecosystems, in systemic, in any ecosystem. So the fact that it's not just tied to MetaMask, for example,
Yeah.
as your wallet management, and not just one blockchain, but multiple. This shows these guys are really building as they should be building. And they're in that diversity comes strength. And this is quite
Mhm.
exciting.
I mean, I'm not faking for the camera. I'm actually stoked about this. Like, 'cause I don't know if you know or not, but your boy Data Lord might be playing some games once in a while. Your boy Data Lord, might be making some games once in a while. You don't know. You don't know.
You never know. That is true.
A speedrun Mega Man, come at me, bro. Yeah. So Indo, you
Yeah.
realize if they were to bring in the old Super Mario games and made items in the games as NFTs, this would probably make bank. Man, it's
Yeah.
a matter of time. That being
Yes.
said, Nintendo is shrewd. Nintendo
Yes.
is smart, and they are so protective over their image. They are so protective over the quality that they put out that they're okay not even doing quantity. They're cool with it. You'll notice like the Wii wasn't, or back it up, the GameCube wasn't particularly impressive hardware, but it's got some crazy good games. People freaking love Smash Bros. Melee, right? You look at the Wii, it was literally a GameCube with a few upgrades. It was not significant, and that was compared to like the Xbox and the PS2, right? And shortly after PS3 jumped out, and so it's like Nintendo's not playing this game where they're trying to lock in, who's got the biggest hardware. They're focused on just how can we use hardware that's affordable to make our consoles available to everybody and just make games that are super good quality. So I think at some point they're probably going to get into blockchain, but I don't think they're going to be early adopters. I think Nintendo specifically is going to wait till everyone's kind of made a fool of themselves and there's a clear path, and then they'll enter in. That being said, I'm not surprised if they do backwards compatibility. Like if they basically have serial numbers attached to their amiibos that are like NFC, and then at some point they have some NFT that's tied to it and you can register it. That's my guess. And I think a lot of companies are probably going to do that too. Like, how you have to register your product with a company sometimes. I'm not surprised if they will allow at some point an NFT or similar technology to be issued to you once they have that blockchain layer integrated in their business. So I don't know. Maybe we should be registering our products when we buy stuff, and there's that little stupid card in there, So, anyways, so let's finish this article here. So, blockchains including Solana and Tezos also had their SDKs added to the store alongside development platform Immutable X for those wishing to build Web3 games on the Ethereum blockchain. The integrations will allow developers to modify the models of ownership in games and enable players to create, earn, or acquire in-game resources, which can be subsequently traded or sold according to Unity. Thank you. That's so cool. I know I brought up this example before, but this is the most vivid one I've seen. Diablo 3, when that game dropped, there actually was a store. And so any loot drops you had, you could actually sell them for real cash. And then they got hit with their, general counsel's like, yeah, we're getting some heat for this, cut that out. And so they made it so you could only do that for in-game resources, which is sad. It's sad to see that, but it's cool to see people adopt it real quick. Whenever there's real money to be made in a game, people, they really, you see people hit up all their buddies like, bro, you got to get Diablo 3. Let's go make some bank, that's what happened with that. So, a recent DApp, what's up, DApp? Recent DApp radar report revealed that gamers made up nearly half, 40%, of all blockchain activity in January 23. Duh, right? Gamers are already like techie. They're already at least able to log into stuff and download and install things, right? So that doesn't surprise me, but it makes clear sense. If you want adoption, the gamers are going to be the early
Yes.
majority.
Yep.
Easy. And then after early majority has been proven and businesses are like, oh, wow, people are making money with this.
Mhm.
And it seems the youth really like this. Like that's the conversation they'll have. Then you'll see it start to pop up in things aimed at people who aren't gamers specifically, right?
Yes, and I guarantee you this is going to end up under the hood where a lot of the old players aren't going to realize that blockchain is ensuring that your stuff remains yours, and you can actually trade. And there's a ledger showing, yeah, you gamer sold it to gamer number 2, and here you signed it, and the other counterparty signed, and there it is. Here's your proof that this is yours. It is not censorable. It is not. They can't take it back. So it's
I
exciting.
think operation security is going to be the funny part. I think a ton of people are not going to secure their keys properly, and it won't matter.
Yeah, at that point.
Think. That's what I think is going to happen.
That's nature taking course.
You got people taking sticky notes and sticking them on their freaking monitor with their passwords. Who are you people? Stop it. Get some help, right? So let's finish this article here though, because I think this last point's really great. So a blockchain analyst at DappRadar previously told Coinbase, or not Coinbase, Cointelegraph, that blockchain gaming is already a vertical in the traditional industry. She believes that as a blockchain technology gains more traction, it will also bring more adoption to Web3 games, which will then become mainstream. So meanwhile, Illuvium's co-founder told Cointelegraph on January 24th that the major challenge with blockchain gaming at the moment is getting casual gamers into the market because of the perception that blockchain games are of inferior quality. They have been. They suck.
And I think it's just because they're trying to run the game in the blockchain, which is not what the blockchain was created for. The blockchain was created to secure transactions. So if there is an in-game transaction, it is secured, validated. It does accounting. So why are you going to use an accounting software to create games on it? So that's where they're missing the boat and truly didn't understand the reason for blockchain.
Yeah, and I'm going to put my little work hat on. It's an architecture problem is really what it is. A lot of people are misunderstanding that blockchain is just a component in modern infrastructure. So when you're designing games, like how right now we have like a SQL database or a Mongo database, something like that, and we store all the data there. This is just a different type of database. There's probably still use for those other cheaper, faster databases. Blockchains are not fast. They are not cheap. They're expensive and they're slow. And so you don't want to, but they're secure. That's the trade-off. They're very secure. And so there's some assets that should be stored on a blockchain. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that should not be. There's a lot of other stuff that shouldn't be. And there's probably going to be a way around that in the future. I think proof of stake is probably barking up the right trees because we're able to have nodes that do have a ledger and are securing, full history. Those nodes could run other tools and could have some sort of check on them. So this is what I'm thinking. Like there's probably some way you can validate the integrity of the data via blockchain without storing all the data on the blockchain. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So who knows? We'll see. We'll see. But I'm going to whip out our next article. Hope everyone's excited about that. That was actually like a super I've been waiting to read that for a while now, and finally seeing and being able to speak this to these beautiful people that like, yo, SDKs are here, let's start building. Like, I don't know if you need to hear like dun, 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 some sort of like horn battle cry or whatever, but like you need to start building. If you're interested in getting ahead, making some serious money, be a first mover. We now know Unity. There's a ton of tutorials on Unity if you want to make basic games in Unity. And you could be first movers to actually have legit crypto games. I'm just saying, what do I know? I just do this every day.
Yes, and this is the real world applications we're talking about. So when you invest in a blockchain, look at what they're actually building. And so now here's a use case for Tezos, here's a use case for MetaMask, here's a use case, where you can actually confirm before you commit your speculative or our speculative money to, investing into the future. So this is the type of stuff you're looking for. Is all of us, I'm sure, yeah, every soul that watches this in the world has played a game and has wondered, man, I wish I could sell this thing that I just made or created or unlocked. I know there's someone that's willing to buy it, and now the under the hood, the mechanism is being deployed as we're watching the world evolve. So,
and you don't have to hire a blockchain guy, and you don't have to be a blockchain sweaty nerd who's over here slapping around Rust code. You don't got to be that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy. So our next article here. So Visa, we were talking about Visa and MasterCard earlier. I think it was last week. Visa's not slowing down with crypto plans, says its crypto chief. I saw another article released where some punks were trying to release FUD and say the opposite of this article, but this is the one that is more validated. So,
yes.
and I'm not going to spend much time on this one, but I do want you to see American payment giant Visa is not slowing down on its cryptocurrency plans despite last year's bear market, according to a series of tweets on Tuesday from the firm's crypto head, Guy Sheffield. Did you hear what I just said? Visa has a head of crypto.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his name. His name is weird. His name is that Guy or Kai?
Yeah, I can't tell what letter it is.
It's C. I put
Kai.
it in the text. Yeah, Kui Koi. I don't know what that means, but Sheffield, which is a fancy name that reminds me of the nanny. So interesting. Sheffield said that a Reuters story claiming Visa and fellow payment company MasterCard were slowing their crypto push was inaccurate. And I think that is inaccurate. It's crap.
We're seeing a lot of that bullshit coming up on the news, guys.
Watch you.
Like there was a Fortune article fudding across with Binance and even bringing up shit that doesn't matter. Like, and these Chinese national. It's like where even CZ is like, bro, what does this even matter where I'm from? Or my ethnicity. And that's what you see as wrong. And we actually mentioned this, Brandon, you and I, of them curtailing the crypto world. And here's an article clarifying that from the actual crypto representative of the payment processing service, so
yep, haters. I'm with you on that. Haters.
Yeah,
there's
when
so
they
much
can't
FUD.
win. Yes.
Put your factor FUD glasses on. Look straight through it. Let's talk it over. And look, I'm just saying, if the company has a head of crypto, they aren't slowing down.
No,
please. They literally have a guy they hired to do this. It's
and
think that guy's coming out talking about it too.
And on top of this, if the world is demanding, there's a demand for this asset to be converted to fiat or process a payment for fiat. Visa and MasterCard will not lose money. Even if it takes a shit, they make their money on the fees of the transaction. So think about it. And shame on me because I should have thought of that when we first read the first article about them slowing down. It didn't quite make sense. I thought it was due to regulatory problems, but
that's what I decided.
Yes. Yet, here's MasterCard and Visa saying, no, guys, the adoption is here. And I actually see exchanges nationally and internationally putting their Visa logos and MasterCard logos on their cards that are tied to crypto. And it makes sense because they're going to make the transaction fee. So they win in the end.
There's a nuance here that's not being paid attention to. I think that the nuance is not that they're slowing down building. They're just probably waiting to publish things and go live to have regulatory clarity. So that's probably the nuance, is just my guess, that they're waiting for the regulatory clarity to go live so they don't get snapped and have to recall some products. But I think they're building in good faith, knowing where it's roughly going to land. So either way, they're a middleman and you're not holding your private keys, but they're going to do it and get a bunch of normies in. So for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, right? So the other piece here is that they hinted at plans to launch a metaverse related product and crypto wallet used to store digital assets and make payments. So Sheffield Visa continues to partner with crypto companies to improve transactions between fiat money and crypto and build products that can facilitate digital payments in a compliant, that's the keyword, I think that's where the FUD came from, and convenient way.
Mhm.
So that's my quick take on it. I'm not going to spend too much time here because we got some other great news I do want to get to. But just hear this. People are still building. They're not going to slow down
Yes.
on building. They might just wait for the general counsel, their legal people, to be like, okay, we feel good enough as long as you word it this way. I think that's the nuance.
Mhm.
So Twitter adjacent Blue Sky app hits the Apple Store. So Jack Dorsey, the fellow who created Twitter, he was talking with Elon Musk and some other people and saying, hey, we really want to have Twitter be protocol. And so I'm going to build a protocol that's actually decentralized for Twitter type interactions. And it'll be called Blue Sky. So the app for Blue Sky just dropped on Apple. So if you have Apple, you could download Blue Sky and check it out.
But you need a invite code, by the way.
Oh, well, let's read the
Yes.
article then. But
It's a private. Yeah.
yeah. But keep an eye out on that, because what I think is
Yes.
probably going to happen is I think that protocol is likely to be integrated just directly into Twitter at some point. They're going to test the protocol, make sure the protocol is solid. And my guess is Elon's going to say, great, let's put this in here. And the big idea here is that censorship goes out the window, right? Web3, what's the Web3 way to approach social media? Well, you as the account holder have private keys to the wallet that holds all of your tweets or whatever, right? And so all the tweets are actually just a cryptographic hash, and they can be rebuilt by running it through the cryptographic algorithm. But this will make it so that companies, let's say Twitter, can tap into Blue Sky, can show your content, but if your content violates their terms of service, they can basically put that little hit of yours on the deny list, or they can take your account and put it on the deny list. But that being said, they didn't take your tweets down, right? They didn't take your content down. They just took your content link off of their platform. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
people could easily just pop another platform up that doesn't have that ban list, and people could easily see it. So what's cool about this is you're making it so that people are actually going to get punished for being unfair about what content can and can't be shown, right? And then there's a legal element to this, and this is why the whole like platform versus publisher conversation for big tech is so important. Once that truly gets ruled on clearly, and companies have to just pick a lane, that I am not an editor. If something does not violate my terms of service, I can't touch it. And unfortunately, we saw that happen, in this last United States presidential election, right? Where this is not bipartisan, by the way. We did see people take some things down because it didn't agree with their line of thinking. It didn't violate any rules on their platform, but they took it down. And so if that were to happen, all that would do is make people say, I don't want to use this platform, period. They don't have to, because the reason Twitter's so valuable is because it has this big database. Well, if the database moves to a blockchain and people are just integrating with that database and presenting it in ways and maybe adding some other features to it, all of a sudden their killer app goes out the window. They aren't as important as they used to be. So I hope you see like why this is so important. So dabble around with it once you get invite codes, apparently. So no, thanks. So Blue Sky, a decentralized social media app tied to Twitter's pre-Elon Musk leadership, has gone live on the Apple Store as of March 1st. Former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey first announced the Blue Sky project in 2019. A former Zcash, by the way, Zcash is a private Bitcoin fork. It's really awesome. Zcash contributor Jay Grabber joined the project as CEO in 2021. Oh, that's awesome. That makes me smile. Though anyone can download the app, Blue Sky is currently in private beta. The users must enter an invite code, as Jaime said, and I didn't notice that because ADHD is a son of a bitch.
No, it's a lot of data content, a lot of content too. So
yeah, recent statements from Grabber suggests, by the way, if you ever meet a guy who introduced himself as Grabber, just be careful, just cover yourself. Suggests that additional invite codes are available for those who contacted her as of Wednesday. Invite's not available on Android yet or the web because they hate you. No, it's not. It's because it's easy to develop on Apple. I know a lot of people are going to grab it. So Blue Sky has no cryptocurrency related features and does not store data on a blockchain yet. I put yet. I think at some point they will.
Yeah.
However, the platform uses AT protocol, a federated network that relies on cryptography to store data in a decentralized way. I'm going to read about that later. This approach makes it similar to blockchain technology, allowing self-ownership of data. Okay, hope you see that. We're not going to go any further in that article, but I do want you to hear what's happening. Web3 is growing. Big companies are building into Web3 because they know that if some company pops up and says, hey, we allow you to own your data, and some other companies don't have that, that could be the thing that makes you drop a perfectly good platform and adopt some competitor just simply because you don't want to get played by a centralized database, right? When people really open their eyes to like, oh, we can get censored and this is like literally a personal sovereignty matter, like screw that, you know.
Yeah.
Bye, Felicia. That's what's gonna happen. And so yeah, you know Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox was a really big crypto exchange back in the day. Oh, what's up? What's up, Crypto Scout?
Hey,
Love you,
Crypto
homie.
Scout. Good morning, sir.
You go. Better late than never, brother.
That's right. Get some rest, brother.
We see you. Thanks for hopping on. So, Mt. Gox was a really, really big cryptocurrency exchange. It had a big hack. A ton of people lost their Bitcoin because they were keeping their money on the exchanges. So when we tell you don't leave the majority of your money on the exchanges, that's why we're saying that, like, we have precedent where this has happened, where people lost insane amounts of money, right? And over time, Mt. Gox has been paying that back, and it's kind of been quiet. We haven't really heard much about it for a little while, but this is a break in that silence. So Mt. Gox bankruptcy repayment unlikely to destabilize Bitcoin. So early adopters are likely to have remained crypto believers, and they still are. They're still here. What's up, OGs? So we'll choose to be paid in Bitcoin and keep it, meaning they're like, no, you're not going to give us cash.
Yep.
We have enough shit coins. Thank you. Give us Bitcoin. Thank you.
Smart guys.
And yeah, creditors of crypto exchange Mt. Gox are about to recover some of their funds following a 10-year liquidation process, but concerns that large amounts of Bitcoin will be released onto the market are overdone. UBS said in the report Monday, the rehabilitation plan gives creditors several options on how they are repaid and the timing of any repayment, the report said. The most important are whether to take an early lump sum or wait for more proceedings and further asset recoveries, and whether to receive funds in fiat or crypto. The early lump sum option with fiat repayment suggested that exchange would have to sell BTC to raise requisite cash. Strategists wrote, noting that long-held fear that Mt. Gox redemptions would hurt Bitcoin's price. But I don't think that's the case. Well, oh my goodness, 850,000 Bitcoin went missing in 2014 on Gox. That's how much Bitcoin went toodaloo. It's not that amount that's potentially being disposed of, because the exchange has recovered 142,000 of that 850,000.
Yep.
Oh no, along with that much in Bitcoin Cash, because that was before the fork. The fork happened. They still had the coin, so it was represented on both chains. And 69 billion Japanese yen, which is
that's deflating.
500 million. Yeah, right. No kidding. Represents 20% of the hack. So still the potential for repayment to influence the price exists. The amount of Bitcoin represents 90% of the average supply active within the last day and 28% of the last week. That's significant because active supply increases are normal, associated with weakness in Bitcoin's price. Because people are selling.
Yeah. The last announcement of disbursement, it was supposed to happen now in the first quarter. It was pushed back to September of this year because of these concerns precisely.
Yeah.
But
so, interesting.
I love the fact that they want Bitcoin, not conversion. They don't give a fuck about the conversion.
Well,
that's smart.
That's really the highlight of this article. This article basically said that early OG crypto guys are still believers. They're not taking your fiat coin. They're not happy with you trying to pull their leg. They just want their money, and they're going to hodl it anyway. So and please, like you think you want to take any risk in having capital gains and whatnot, like that's their other thing. They're like, "You're not, I don't have that cash in the first place, so I'm good. Thanks though." As opposed to if you just straight up get Bitcoin, like it's reportable, but it's not taxable until it's realized or
You
whatever.
sell,
So
exactly.
yeah.
Yep.
So kids these days, what are you gonna do? So if you would, if you're liking the show, leave a like, leave a
Yes.
subscribe. Also, if you have any ideas or thoughts on these articles, please leave a comment on the page once it's done too. That always helps us get some more visibility, so more people can know how to not get played. Yeah,
Yes.
there's too much noise. Help us cut through it. So our next article is interesting. Goldman Sachs. Do you use Sachs? You know, I love to say that. To bolster crypto team with new hires following layoffs. So you know how they had layoffs. So in January, Goldman Sachs announced plans to cut around 3,200 staff as part of a cost-cutting exercise. However,
We were there.
despite this move, the bank remains open to hiring new talent in the cryptocurrency space. Do you hear that? They're looking for you. So if you're interested in this Web3 space, you're interested in cryptocurrency specifically, hit the books.
Yes.
Hit the books. If you have an idea, talk to us in the Discord. Let us know what you're thinking about. I'm happy to point you in the right direction, get you connected with the right resources to
witness to
start
that.
reading and put your work in. I can't put the work in for you, but if you want to put the work in, I'll make sure you're barking up the right tree. Yeah?
Yes, Brandon, Brandon has done that for me too in the past, so I can back up every word he's saying is, and please note the message here. They just fired 3,200 financial normies and are now seeking crypto financial peoples who understand crypto itself. So
Yeah.
look at the writing on the wall. Is there no future for crypto? Yes, there is. That
Well,
people are building.
it specifically makes you hireable when other people are getting fired is the other part too.
Yes.
So like, I'm just saying, I've made a career on cloud computing. I noticed like, oh, hey, people are moving away from these crappy servers in their closets. They clearly don't care about them. They're expensive to maintain, and instead, once they go to have to upgrade that hardware, people are just moving into cloud software as a service, like Google Workspace and Office 365 and Amazon Web Services and Azure and Google Cloud Platform. People are literally just moving stuff there, right? Unless they have some regulatory reason to have servers in a data center, then they're just going to throw it in the cloud because it's cheaper and they can make it spike for demand. They're good and they can make it scale down. So I made a career on just getting super good at that before companies really moving there, and moved a ton of companies into cloud infrastructure and secured it and optimized it, all that kind of thing. That's happening with crypto right now.
Mhm.
We've already seen that, like the peak of the iceberg kick out of the water. So put your goggles on, pay attention, get your skills up, and you're going to have a ballin' career. I'm telling you, and you're going to build some stuff you're proud of is the other part too. So I don't want to dig too much into this article other than the fact that Goldman Sachs is hiring crypto people
Precisely.
despite the market laying off other people. So I think companies are just doubling down on what's going to make them valuable against their competitors, right? We've been talking about Ethereum. Well, Vitalik Buterin says more still needs to be done over high Ethereum transaction fees. So Ethereum moved from proof of work, mining on GPUs mostly, to proof of stake, where people have 32 ETH locked into a server, and the server validates the transactions like a full node, basically. And because their nuts are on the table, if they lie, they get their nuts punched, right?
That's right.
Crush your nuts. But they
It's
get an
game
extra
theory,
nut.
guys.
But they get an extra nut if they play nice, right? And so if you want some more nuts, you're gonna have to be a good boy.
That's
So
right.
that's what's
Game
happening
theory.
though. So they thought that would, their hypothesis, I should say, just to be fair, I don't want to be crappy to people who are trying. Their hypothesis was if we move proof of work to proof of stake, it'll lower transaction fees. Well, it helped. It didn't get us all the way there though, right? So Vitalik's saying like, we're still not there yet. just in review. So good user experience is not about the average case. It's about the worst case, the Ethereum co-founder wrote. In a new blog published on the 28th of February, Vitalik documented I can language. Vitalik Buterin documented the continued need to improve the network to better facilitate ETH as a payment. Buterin showed how he tried to pay for tea for himself and friends at a coffee shop. Well, that's your problem. You're getting tea at a coffee shop. Go to a tea shop. In Argentina, that's a joke. In Argentina in 2021, but had to pay 0.01 ETH, around $40 at the time, as that was the minimum deposit for the owner's exchange account. Yep, I've seen exactly that problem.
Me
I
too.
did not mind the 3x overpayment and treated it as a tip. Are you hearing that? He recognizes that it's not a good payment mechanism yet. And so what's he going to do about it, right? According to Buterin, outlier, maybe this part here, many times there's been surprisingly long delay between my transactions getting accepted on chain and service acknowledged the transactions even as unconfirmed some of those times. I definitely got worried that there was some glitch on the payment system side. So he recognizes it's expensive and it's slow and they need to do better. They don't quite have an answer for how they're going to do that just yet, but he's paying attention and he's working with other researchers to figure that out, right? And on that same similar note, Solana also recognizes it has some issues too. They plan to fix their whole blockchain. So we know they had an outage. We covered that last this Monday. So Solana released plans to improve the network upgrade. We know they had a slowdown. We covered that on Monday. They released another statement about its network upgrades and how the major focus of the plan is on stability as the network continues its transition. If it's not stable, people are going to get spooked and they're going to leave. They recognize that's the deal, right? And so as 2022 priorities, we're shipping new features and new tools. 2023 is stability. So, 1/3 of the core engineering team is going to be focused on stability and adversarial, basically security hardening testing. But here's my thoughts. So he has this whole Medium article on how they plan to approach that. So what I want you to take away from this is that where there's been some FUD on Solana, they realized okay, last year we doubled down on tools. We have tools to develop stuff, and we've seen we've seen applications come up on Solana. We've seen a lot of them. So Solana's not decentralized yet. It's on roadmap to be properly decentralized. They wanted to get the functionality first, so proof of concepts could be built out. But they realize now they got to build stability. And I think part of that stability is also likely, this is my hypothesis, I think part of the stability is also going to be getting it decentralized. But as you know, if you have servers yourself, you can guarantee the quality. If you outsource it, you're just going to get what they give you. So I think that they're kind of in a catch-22 here. I wish the best for them because it'd be really cool if they do get it stable and then get it properly decentralized. So that's my thoughts on that for the day. So pretty cool day. I got to say, this whole news cycle here is pretty much people are hiring in crypto. People are releasing dev tools in crypto. Web3 is here to stay. You better pay attention if you want to make some serious money. You need to start using these tools that are developed for you and execute well on them. It's all about execution. Yes. Focus on learning the tool stack and execute. So if you're interested, please join our Discord, link in the description. I'm active on there. Jaime's active on there. If you have questions about how to get started, maybe you have an idea, go ahead and let us know what your idea is. We'll point you towards some of the right technologies. You can start doing homework and whatnot, building stuff together. And our hope for that whole Discord is that people will start co-building. People who are yo, I would love to help you with that. Let's click up. Jaime and I personally can point you in the right direction. We're kind of overstretched at the moment. There's not much wiggle room.
But we're still here though.
But I want to help other people get to the same place where they're building stuff and we can just keep cheering each other on and helping each other solve some little problems here and there. So
precisely.
I just want to let you know, I love you guys. We'll be back on Friday. Until next time, keep calm and huddle on, and make sure you drink enough coffee to get your schoolwork done, kids.
Hell yeah. And if you see Bitcoin fall, it's your chance to get it cheaper. Just think of that. The industry is nice and healthy despite
Go ahead
price
and-
action.
Go ahead and get a nice, healthy scooped bag. Scoop a bag.
See you around.
Bye.
While everyone screams, ah! You buy.